Okay, we're back at the St. Paul Civic Center. We're getting ready for the second game, afternoon session. St. Louis Park, the winner in the first game over Winona, 55-41. Now we're getting ready for St. Paul Central and Mounds View. Julie Perlt already introducing the teams, so I'll let Bob Kurtz give you the lineups quickly.
Okay, they're introducing right now for Mounds View. Let's pick up Julie, and then I'll give you the St. Paul Central in just a minute.
Setter, number 35, Jeff Kaiser. Guards, number 41, John Horn. And number 11, Luke Christensen.
Okay, for the Mounds View Mustangs, 11 Christensen, 33 Troop, 35 Kaiser, 41 Horn, and 45 Wheeler are the starters. For St. Paul Central Minutemen, unbeaten thus far. Number 10 is Gibbons, 12 is Stacy Robinson, 14 Brian Dungy, 20 and a man to watch is Ricky Suggs, and 30 is John Williams. This is a battle of speed, St. Paul Central against a team that has been classed as a one-man team. Number 33, Van Troop of the Mounds View Mustangs. It ought to be an interesting matchup, Davey.
Yes, it certainly should, and of course Ziggy Calls will question you on that when you call his team a one-man team. He says they're not, and we're about to find out. And we have a false start.
I'm going to say we don't get off to a very good start here. Van Troop averages 26.5 points a ball game. The nearest man to him is Luke Christensen, and he averages 8.7. But keep an eye on the central speed. Ziggy Calls said they cannot get into a running game. Stacy Robinson to Dungy, Brian Dungy for St. Paul Central. He pumps it a long way up and battles for the rebound, and it comes off to Kaiser. Mounds View knocked out his hand out of bounds. Mounds View will play it back in.
You know, Bobby, you refer to this team as a one-man team, Mounds View with Van Troop. Looking at the scoring from the first game, Jim Peterson was the only man in double figures for the winning St. Louis Park team, but they certainly didn't look like a one-man team, so scoring statistics can sometimes be deceptive.
Here is Wheeler now for Mounds View. Kaiser operating against Suggs. Back out to Wheeler. Mounds View will tend to slow this thing down. They'll run a pattern offense. They don't want to take any bad percentage shot. Here's Van Troop, and he walked with the basketball. And so we've got a turnover. There's Van Troop. Parents moved from Minneapolis out to Mounds View. Walked with the basketball that time. He's been a big addition to Mounds View. Conference scoring champion the last 2 years. Stacy Robinson underneath. He lost the ball. And up with it now is Luke Christensen. Dropping it off in the corner now for Horn. Horn pops. That's no good. Rebound Kaiser underneath. Kaiser puts it up and in. So Mounds View draws first blood. The green and white lead the red and gray by a score of 2-0.
There goes the shutout.
That's Gibbons.
Ooh, does he get up in the air?
Now it's Wheeler. Tied at 2. Wheeler in the lane. Up and in. Wheeler gets his first bucket. And it's 4-2 in favor of Mounds View. We got 6:10 to go here. First quarter. St. Paul Central, the Minutemen against the Mounds View Mustang. There's a mouthful. Ricky Suggs. There's a ball player. Stacy Robinson. Woo. And we're tied at 4.
By Robinson.
Wheeler picked up by Robinson.
And John Williams on that bucket he got just a moment ago. They're shooting the eyes out of the baskets right now, Bobby.
There's Kaiser. 6-4 game in favor of the Moundsmen.
I was just going to say, this Williams at 6'4" got up as high as anybody we saw off the ground in the first game.
Ricky Suggs. He'll be heard from again. 2 points for him. Tied at 6. Remember, Mounds View does not want to get into a track meet here. They figure they cannot run with St. Paul Central. Wheeler, he was stopped by Gibbons. A foul is called, and the foul will be on Stacy Robinson. That'll be his first and the first team foul.
Number 12.
Stacy Robinson, the junior guard at 5'10". trying to guard and stay with his man, and he fouled him.
So Wheeler will go to the free throw line for Moundsview. He'll be shooting 2. Our referees are Jim Potnick and Paul Duckstad. That was Paul handing the ball there to Wheeler. And Wheeler's free throw is good. So Wheeler now has a total of 3 points. And that makes it 7-6 now in favor of the Mustangs. And the second one is short. And Ricky Suggs grabbed the rebound. Hands it off now to Brian Dungy. And Brian Dungy trying to attack that Moundsview zone. Tries to take it inside. Shuffles off to Suggs. And Suggs has 4 points. So St. Paul on top now, 8-7. Wheeler. Watched by Stacy Robinson. Kaiser picked up by Suggs. Wheeler. Gibbons is on him. Ball poked loose. And Dungy grabbed it, tried to slam it off. And it did go off. Apparently, Horn not out of bounds, and St. Paul Central plays it back in.
Nice heads-up play.
There you see the situation with St. Paul Central on top by a point. They also have the basketball, Davy Gibbons. 5'8" guard. Over to Stacy Robinson. He's only 5'10". Back to Gibbons, and didn't hit anything but twine. Gibbons has 2, and St. Paul Central now has a 3-point lead. St. Paul Central 22-0. Kaiser. Grabbed by Williams, and here comes another foot race. Stacy Robinson. Rebound. Williams no good. Then Suggs comes crashing in, and I believe Suggs picks up the foul. Now the foul's on Williams, number 30, as we take a look at it here. That'll be Johnny's first foul, first team foul against, or second team foul, rather, against St. Paul.
He is skinny as a rail. He doesn't weigh more than about 140 pounds, it looks like, at 6'4", but he sure can jump, and he gets good position.
Here comes Gibbons. So far, Moundsview has been unable to get the ball to Van Troop. This one's poked loose there by Horn, goes out of bounds, and St. Paul Central will play it in. We're going to get a couple of quick substitutions here for the Mustangs.
Smith, number 53.
Peter Smith, 53, is coming in, along with 15, Jeff Wardeberg.
Wardeberg, number 15.
And Horn comes out. And St. Paul Central has a 3-point lead, 10-7. Stacy Robinson in and out. John Williams the rebound.
As I said, he gets excellent position.
St. Paul leads by 5 now, 12-7. Van Troop, here's the first we've seen of him, and Van Troop gets 2. So Troop picks up his first bucket, makes it 12-9. St. Paul Central by 3, and Gibbons to Dungy. Gibbons, long way out, he's got it. Gibbons now has 4, and it's 14-9. It's St. Paul Central by 5.
If they can keep shooting like that from outside, Bob, Moundsview's going to be in big trouble with that zone.
If shooting like that from the outside, they can apply for an NBA franchise. Moundsview turns it over. That's something they cannot afford to do. Moundsview is doing a little more running with St. Paul in the early going than I thought they were going to.
Well, Moundsview's actually averaging 73.5 points a game for the season, so they don't play too deliberately.
There's a turnover by St. Paul Central to return the favor. That's 2 now against the Minutemen. Nickname fits, too. Doesn't even take him that long to get down the floor. Wheeler, under pressure, tossed it up to Suggs. That's not Suggs, that's Williams. And Williams has 6 points. And the press is on again. And it's bothering him. But a foul is called quickly there by Dungy, so that'll ease it a bit.
Foul is on number 14, Dungy.
Maybe he stepped on the guy's foot. I didn't see him hit him with his body, but I think he stepped on his foot, and I think that's what the referee called.
Dungy is doing a pretty good job also, a very tight defensive job on Van Troop. Now Wheeler, long pass up the floor. And Peter Smith has that. Peter Smith to Van Troop, and Van Troop has a total of 4, and it's 16-11. St. Paul by 5 with 2:20 left to play here first quarter. Davy Gibbons. Right inside to John Williams, and a foul was called. as they banged him up.
And I believe that'll be on 53, Peter Smith. He jumped in.
Smith, 53.
There he is jumping in.
First team foul against Moundsview, so Dungy will play it in for St. Paul Central. St. Paul Central owns a 5-point lead. Givens owns the basketball at the moment. He's being watched there by Christensen. Gets it off to Stacy Robinson. Stacy likes to shoot from there. That one's no good. And the rebound comes off now, and tied up underneath is Jeff Wardeberg.
They called a travel on it, Bob. That ball actually went over the rim, off the rim, over the backboard, but it didn't hit the standard and back, and so the referee let it play. And the players were confused for a second. They stood around watching it, thinking it would be blown dead.
Givens.
Woo! Boy, do they like to shoot from downtown.
There's 6 for Givens, and a 7-point lead for St. Paul Central. Van Troop baseline against Dungy. Oh! Dungy picked up a foul.
Dungy, number 14. Henderson, number
Dungy's been doing an excellent job on defense. He got him with the body. No question about it. Good call. But he's been doing a super job. He's been denying Troop the ball, and that, of course, is the secret to keeping Moundsview from staying in the game with you. If you can keep the ball away from Troop, he's their big man. He averages 26 points a game. He's the only player they've got that averages anywhere close to that.
Now, Dungy's done a tight defensive job on him, but you can't keep the big guy from getting his points, although really he's not that big. He's just 6'2". That's his 5th point. Makes it an 18-12 ball game. St. Paul by 6. Second free throw is no good. And Moundsview gets a break. There's the situation. As Van Troop will play it in for the Mustangs. Wardeberg, Wheeler. Wheeler. That's no good. Peter Smith goes high for the rebound. He's hammered underneath, and Peter Smith will be going to the free throw line. I believe Williams picked up the foul. That's his 2nd. Here you see Wheeler popping up his shot, and Peter Smith will grab the rebound, and he'll be hacked underneath there. Williams picking up his 2nd foul. That'll be the 15th foul on St. Paul Central, so we're in the bonus.
Bob, we asked Dan Brink, the coach of the St. Paul Central Minutemen, what kind of a game he would like to see today. So far, it looks like the kind of game he wanted.
I suppose Troop scoring a lot and dominating. If we can hold Troop to 15 or under, I think we have a very good chance to win.
Your style would be to run and keep the game going, keep the flow going, and take control of the tempo of the game.
Hopefully, we try and establish that every game. We don't change anything, though. I don't really come out with any special defense. We have our normal game plan for everybody we play. We will, of course, put a good defensive player on Troop, and we play man-to-man.
Both free throws were good, so it's 18-14. Here comes Moundsview again. Wardeberg. Peter Smith went crashing, and Peter Smith picked up the foul. He really went after the rebound a little too aggressively, picked up his 2nd foul.
That was a tough call, though, Bob, because he had both hands on the ball, and he was bringing the ball down. They were fighting for it, but he had possession of the ball. That was really a tough call.
Peter Smith off the bench has picked up both of the Moundsview Mustang fouls here in the first quarter. Have just a minute 14 to go. There's a blind pass over to Ricky Suggs. Suggs' shot is no good. Wheeler grabs the rebound, and Moundsview comes down. Pass intended for Van Troop. That was broken up by Suggs, getting back on defense. And now we've got Farron Henderson with the basketball. He drops it back to Givens. Stacy Robinson. Back to Givens. Suggs. Looping it into Jeff Conley. Now we have a foul called now on Wardeberg. That'll be his 1st.
Wardeberg with the foul, and he did. Wait a minute now. Who'd they call? Oh, there's the foul right there. Okay. They looked like they could have called a foul there on Smith that time.
Wardeberg, number 15.
Wardeberg spun around Conley, who his coach, Dan Brink, expects to go someplace on a football scholarship. Conley's 1st free throw is up and no good.
Little yips on that one. He was a little bit tight.
18-14, St. Paul Central leads Moundsview with 46 seconds to go here in quarter number 1. Now it's 19-14 as Conley gets the free throw. And here come the Mustangs again. Horn back in the ball game, teaming up with Wheeler at the guards. Wheeler driving towards the basket, lost the basketball to Stacy Robinson. Stacy Robinson down to Suggs. Suggs was cut off by Horn, shoots over Horn for 2. So Suggs has 6, 21-14. St. Paul back to a 7-point lead again. Wheeler working against Robinson. He walked with the basketball, so the turnover gives the ball to St. Paul. The Minutemen.
And we're seeing a lot, some similarities to the first game, Bob. And St. Paul Central is keeping their cool, and Mounds View is getting a little anxious, much as Winona did after staying close in the early going. And now we've seen Central open a 7-point lead.
Mustangs have turned it over 9 times here in the first quarter. Stacy Robinson to Conley. Conley's shot is no good. Just 2 seconds to go. Suggs up, no good. Rebound, Van Troop. And that now is the end of the first quarter with the score St. Paul Central 21, the Mounds View Mustangs 14.
There was a time you could find a good place to stay after a day on the road.
Travel for less with Super 8. Comfortable rooms at prices you can afford. It's America's finest economy lodging. Call this toll-free number for reservations or to get your free directory of Super 8 motels and lodges.
Those good old days are here again.
Oldsmobile announces a new way to cut out in a cutlass and save. When you buy the distinctive paint treatment and sport mirrors, you get 4 extras at no charge. A special cutlass grill, color-keyed wheel discs, custom sports steering wheel, and an attractive plaid interior. Think this deal looks good on paper? It looks even better on this Cutlass Supreme. The Cutlass Supreme Custom Appearance Package with rich plaid interior. A new way to save at your Twin Cities area Olds dealers now.
Okay, we're just about ready for the start of the second quarter. St. Paul Central leading 21-14. Mounds View shot 62% from the floor, Bob, but they only had 8 shots in the first quarter. Central had 18.
Peter Smith wins the tip for him, gets it to Luke Christensen. And Luke, battling Gibbons, gets it across center court. Van Troop. No good. He was fouled. And Van Troop will go to the line shooting 2. I think Gibbons got it. He did. That's his first. The bonus situation doesn't matter in this situation because he has 2 shots. Troop, with 5 points to his credit, is 1 for 2 so far on the charity stripe. Troop's high point game this year was 43. Stands 6'1". Free throw is no good. So he's missed 2 or 3 from there as Kaiser checks back in and Peter Smith comes out.
Kaiser back in for Mounds View 35.
Kaiser takes his place along the lane there. Troop's second free throw, that's also no good. And the rebound comes down to Henderson of St. Paul. Off to Gibbons. Brian Dungy. Suggs air ball, and the foul call underneath. I believe it's on the Mounds View Mustangs, and picking it up that time was Mr. Wheeler. Rich Wheeler picking up his first. That's the 4th team foul against Mounds View.
Well, it's a loose ball, Bob, and he again had his hands on the ball, much as the call against Smith earlier in the game. I think they're calling him pretty tight.
Now, basket by Suggs will count. That gives him 8 points. And he was hammered.
Now, Kaiser's incredulous. He says, I didn't touch him. That's what he says. That time he touched him.
Foul was on Kaiser. That was his first 15 foul against Mounds View. Suggs trying to convert the three-point play. And that he does. So Suggs with 9, and St. Paul has now moved to a 10-point lead over Mounds View, 24-14. Horn. Picked up by Dungy. Now in the corner, Suggs is on him. Drops it back off for Christensen. Christensen in the lane, and it's taken away by Stacy Robinson. Stacy Robinson, he had the ball knocked out of his hands, and a nice defensive play by Wheeler. St. Paul will play it back in. But Rich Wheeler hustling to get back on defense. As there you see the steal by Stacy Robinson.
Nice play by Wheeler, right on the ball.
Stacy Robinson with the basketball. Brian Dungy. Underneath for Suggs. Pretty play. Ricky Suggs with 11. 26-14, a 12-point lead for St. Paul Central, which was within a bucket of doubling Mounds View. Defensive play that time, Brian Dungy. Walks back in with the basketball, hands it back to the official, directs the defense. Comes into Wheeler. Christensen. Van Troop. Now they give Van Troop an opening, moves in, and he takes advantage of it. So Troop has a total of 7 now. That makes it 26-16. St. Paul Central by 10.
They just got to get him the ball if they're going to get back in this game. There's no question about it.
And Brian Dungy's doing his best to deny him the ball. Right now, Dungy has the ball himself. And walking with the basketball is called, so the turnover gives it to Moundsview.
I was wondering when they were going to get around to calling something on him. He was really playing around with that ball and getting away with a lot of shuffling.
Williams, number 30, back in for St. Paul Central.
Now John Williams comes back, and he's got a couple of fouls, and Givens goes out. Bring in Williams, who's 6'4", and take out Givens, who's 5'8". There's a trade. Luke Christensen, he's going to go for it all. He's got it. That's his first point. Gives him 2, and it's 26-18. Moundsview's managed to cut it down to 8 points now with 5:45 to go here in the half. This is Stacy Robinson. Conley, his shot was short, and Christensen grabbed the rebound. Luke Christensen passes up on the right side now. That's Kaiser to Horn. Horn's in traffic to Van Troop. They got him the ball, and he got them the bucket.
What a beautiful shot. He had to arch his back and lean back because he was actually, looked like he was actually beyond the backboard when he shot it. Let's see it on the replay. And he had to reach back. He wasn't actually, but he did have to reach back and throw it up off the glass. Pretty play. You can see why this kid has been their scoring machine all year, and he's just got to get the ball.
Foul is on Robinson. Free throw is no good as Van Troop has missed 3 of 4 now from the charity stripe. 26-20. It's a 6-point lead now for St. Paul Central as Givens makes it an 8-point lead.
Givens,
8 for Givens. Van Troop couldn't handle the pass, and the turnover gives the ball to St. Paul. That's 11 turnovers as opposed to 3 for St. Paul Central. And St. Paul Central is supposed to be the running team. It's the running teams that are supposed to turn this thing over.
St. Paul Central hadn't made too many mistakes of any kind so far in this game.
Certainly not in the loss column this year, 22-0. They, along with Corey, are generally considered to be the favorites here in AA as Stacy Robinson missed that one. Ricky Suggs grabbed the rebound, and Ricky Suggs has 13 points. And St. Paul is back to a 10-point lead.
And Ricky Suggs is only 5'11". Boy, does he get up there.
He knocked that one out. Moundsview will play it back in. St. Paul, the city of, has not won a state high school basketball tournament title in 30 years since Humboldt won it in 49. Although there are people that, many people that think this Minutemen club could be the ball club. That's Horn. And he gets his first 2. Makes it 30-22 St. Paul, an 8-point lead. We've got 4:25 or so to go here in the first half. Givens. Round and around and around it goes, and Givens has 10 points. 32-22. St. Paul Central by 10 again. Inside to Kaiser. Kaiser bothered by Conley, and jump ball.
Nice defensive play by Conley. Had his hand right on the ball. They just had control. Both of them had the ball for just an instant, but he was on the ball. It's a jump ball. Good call.
Conley 44, Kaiser 35. The Mustangs, green and gold. Although green and white are their official school colors, as Peter Smith and Jeff Wardeberg will be checking back into the Moundsview lineup. Don't forget tonight, starting at about 7 o'clock, we've got Duluth Central and Brainerd. Brainerd features the big man, Ron Falenchek, who's 6'10". His coach says a legitimate 6'10". And then we've got Ricori against Minneapolis Central. Givens loses it out of bounds, and so Moundsview gets a break. That's only the 4th turnover
53 back in for Moundsview.
for the Mustangs, and Luke Christensen will play it in.
Oh, one of the reasons they haven't had the turnovers, Bob, is they haven't been running all that much. They have only had maybe 3 or 4 fast breaks in the game, but they've just been bringing the ball down and hitting from outside and getting the offensive rebounds.
Christensen to Wheeler. Peter Smith with a tap in. Peter Smith with 4 points now, 32-24, St. Paul by 8. They've managed to get it down to about 8, but they can't seem to get over the hump and get it much inside that.
Well, they had it down at 26-20 as the closest they've been for a while at 6.
Back to 10 as Suggs has 15 points.
Top scoring.
Biggest man on the St. Paul Central team is Williams at 6'4". Van Troop. Smith rebound. Now Christensen. Long shot. That had been 3 points in the ABA. And Smith shot no good. Smith again no good. And the rebound finally grabbed by Waterberg as Mounds doing a job on the boards. Waterberg against Williams, and Williams fouls him. And that'll be 3 on John Williams. He's their big man, 6'4".
Nice fake by Waterberg. Got him up off his feet. That's what the coaches hate to see. They hate to see you leave your feet on defense. He gave him the head fake right there, got him up in the air, and it's all over.
Henderson back in, 44.
Dungy in, and out goes Mr. Williams. And Waterberg will be shooting the 1-and-1.
Waterberg shooting.
There's 1. And so he'll have a chance to make number 2. That makes it a 34-25 ball game. St. Paul Central by 9. We've got 2:50 left to play here in the first half. St. Paul Civic Center. Beautiful building. And Waterberg converts them both, so it's back to an 8-point game again, and here comes St. Paul Central. And there's now a timeout on the floor with our score. St. Paul Central 34 and Mounds View 26.
Kemp's Taste Sensations. With Kemp's chocolate chip ice cream, the first taste you experience is rich, buttery toffee, then pure velvety chocolate. Together, they're sensational. And only Kemp's uses this authentic, old-fashioned recipe. We even add an extra chocolate topping. Kemp's chocolate chip in round half gallons. Premium quality flavorings, sensational taste from top to bottom. Creamier, smoother Kemp's ice cream. More people eat Kemp's because there's more Kemp's to eat.
All right, stay there. I'll be over. It was Carl Davis.
You going to go see him?
No, I'm going to see Fern Driscoll. At this point, Your Honor, I can't offer all the proof. I hope to produce at a later date when criminal action will be taken against counsel for the defendant.
Don't miss Raymond Burr starring in Perry Mason, weekdays at 11 a.m. here on Channel 9.
Now back to the action as Brian Dungy picked up his first 2 points of the game for St. Paul. And picked up a foul as well, so Dungy picks up his 3rd one. So he has 3 and Williams has 3. The ball game is 36-26 in favor of St. Paul. There's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, as you can see, left in the half, and Dungy going to go sit there next to Coach Dan Brink, who bought a van for his team this year. Willie Traxler comes in. The van cost him $500. The insurance cost him $100, and they had to practice at Monroe Junior High because their gym is being remodeled. And Dan Brink says he thinks that brought his club closer together. As Waterberg is becoming a terror from the free throw line, he has now hit all 3. Don't foul him in the closing moments. He has 4 now, and it's 36-28, back to that 8-point deal again. Gibbons to Willie Traxler. Now Stacy Robinson back to Gibbons again. Gibbons a long bomber. He was bothered by Waterberg. The shot was no good. And the rebound was grabbed underneath there and then taken away. And a jump ball. Nice work again by Wheeler. Wheeler's the man that got back on defense a little while ago, and he tied up the player there. Mounds View, of course, the school that Mark Landsberger went to, of Minnesota fame, along with Arizona State, the Chicago Bulls, and several others. And the tip is controlled. Waterberg was bumped there by Stacy Robinson, and Stacy Robinson has 3 fouls.
Well, we may be seeing something happening here that might come back to haunt St. Paul Central in the second half. They now have 3 of their best players with 3 fouls apiece on them. And
you take a look
at time left in the first half.
Excuse me, Dave. You take a look at the other side. Peter Smith, who is a substitute, has 2 for Mounds View. Wheeler has 1, and Kaiser has 1.
So Mounds View may be playing the smarter game right now, even if they aren't playing the better game. For 5, would you believe? 100%, that's easy to figure. 6 for 6, 36-30. They now have it down to 6 points with 2:05 left to play here in the first half. Draxler to Givens. Givens against Wardenberg. Wardenberg and Smith have done a great job off the bench for Mounds View. Ricky Suggs. His shot is no good. Troop the rebound. Here's Wardenberg again. And Wardenberg's got 8. It's 36-32. And the Mounds View crowd making a deafening roar here at St. Paul. The Minutemen. Van Troop takes the ball away, and they say Van Troop just rolled out of bounds a bit right in front of Dave Sheehan. A couple of seats down for me, and so St. Paul Central will play it back in. Willie Traxler. Lake City's off and running. They lead Duluth Morgan Park in the first quarter 8-0. Sounds like another deliberate game.
Long bomber there by Stacy Robinson. That gives him a total of 4. Makes it a 38-32 ball game. Back to a 6-point lead for St. Paul Central. Wheeler, Van Troop. And Troop has 11. 38-34, a 4-point ball game. And about 1:05 now to go in the half. Givens. Knocked away by Horn. But then Conley came up with the basketball when he was finally fouled, I believe, by Horn.
Horn, number 41.
That's Horn's first.
It was Horn. He made a heck of a defensive play right there and knocked the ball loose. And he made another nice effort there. And if he'd left it at that, he would have been all right. But he got up and took another shot at him and finally got the man instead of the ball.
There's Jeff Conley. He is 1 for 2 so far from the charity stripe. He has the 1 point so far in the game. Alley's got 2 now. 39-34. St. Paul back by 5. The Minutemen 22-0. The Mounds View Mustangs are 20-2. Shot is good the second time, so he's got 3. And we're back to 6-point lead now. 40-34 with the press on. Wardenberg breaks it. Stopped by Gibbons, drops it back off for Peter Smith. Horn. Good. So Horn has a total of 4, 40-36, back to a 4-point Minutemen lead. We've got just 38 seconds to go. Ricky Suggs' shot falls short. Peter Smith grabs the rebound, lost it to Conley, and Conley lost it to Smith. Troop against Suggs. There's a couple stars. Shot is short. And Mounds View comes up with the rebound. It's Wardenberg who's really done a job off the bench, but he hands it to Givens. Here comes St. Paul. Givens. He's got 12. Just 11 seconds to go now. 42-36. Long pass. That's Wild. Right over into the bench of St. Paul. And the Central Minutemen will play it back in.
That could be a very big turnover if Central gets another bucket here, because they could get it up to 8 points at halftime when Mounds View had a chance to cut it to 4.
There we go. Long blast there by Conley. That'll fall short. Van Troop throws it the length of the floor, but that's way wild. And that is the end.
Basketball tournament.
On the Randy Brewer Show. Okay, we're back at the Civic Center. We're just about ready to start the second half. St. Paul Central leading Mounds View 42-36. In the first game here today, it was St. Louis Park 55-41 over Winona. Out at the Met in the Class A tournament, first game final, Warren 39, Breckenridge 35. After 1 quarter out there, right now, Lake City leading Duluth Morgan Park 21-8. And here's Bob Kurtz.
Okie dokie, here we go. Second half, a 6-point lead for St. Paul Central. Keep in mind that 3 Minutemen have 3 fouls, that being Robinson, Dungy, and Williams. And St. Paul Central controls the top to start the second half. That's Givens on the right side. Looping it inside now to Henderson. Henderson's shot is no good. And we start the second half with a foul. Who's this on? It's on Moundsview player, obviously.
Kaiser, 35.
Yeah, and Kaiser. That'll be Kaiser's second. First team foul, obviously, against Moundsview here in the second half. It's a shooting foul. And that'll put Farron Henderson on the line, and he has not been there yet today.
He got him with the body.
First free throw is up and no good.
He's probably wishing he weren't there now.
So it's still a 6-point lead for the Minutemen. Whereas Moundsview will be trying to force those three players from St. Paul into foul trouble very quickly here in the second half, as Henderson makes it a 7-point lead for St. Paul. Wheeler for the Moundsview Mustangs. Picked up by Dungy. That's Kaiser working against Henderson. Christensen against Givens, and Suggs comes up with the ball. Ricky Suggs. And Ricky Suggs has 17. And St. Paul is back to a 9-point lead again. Rick Wheeler. Jeff Kaiser going to try the outside lane, no good. And the rebound off to Suggs to Dungy. The Dungy shuffle out there into Henderson. The shot was no good. And the rebound comes back out to Dungy. Dungy to Givens. Givens drives the lane. He's got it. He's got 14.
A beautiful blind over-the-head pass. And he didn't even have to save it because it was going out off Moundsview anyway.
Into Kaiser. And he picks up one inside. So Kaiser now has 6 points. That makes it 47-38. St. Paul Central by 9. Dungy. Suggs. And Kaiser grabs the rebound. Off to Horn. There's Troop. And a foul called on Henderson on the floor.
Number 12 back in for Central.
Yeah, it was called on Henderson. Troop did get his arm out there to protect himself, which is certainly understandable, but which is sometimes called pushing off. He did elbow him right in the face, but moving in with the body was the call. It could have gone either way.
That'll put Troop on the line. First team foul against St. Paul Central here in the second half. Troop's free throw is up and...
good.
Now it's finally good.
Never a doubt.
No, not at all. That's 12 points now for Van Troop. He's hit 2 of 5 from the free throw line. And he's still not 50% from the charity stripe as he missed the second one. And so it's 47-39, St. Paul Central by 8 points. Dungy. No hesitation there.
Over the back.
On who?
On whom?
All right.
I thought it was Williams. It was John Williams.
That's 4.
That's 4.
That's an important one. Second team foul against the Minutemen here in the second half.
And it was an unnecessary one, too.
There's Wheeler. Look at Troop to Christensen. Christensen walked with the basketball. Christensen, by the way, is the nephew of Jim Hastings, the head coach up at Duluth Central.
And a heck of a guy.
We'll be seeing him a little later on tonight. As he goes against Brainerd, I believe. Yep, that's right. Our 7 o'clock game. Here's Givens. Oh. Givens has 16.
They got Williams on the bench now for Bob, and Jeff Conley checked in to replace him.
49-39. 10-point advantage for Central. Wheeler cuts that to 8. Wheeler has 5 points now, 49-41. There's 5:15 left to go here, third quarter. Givens walked with the ball, and he's mad at himself.
Oh, is he?
First turnover against the Minutemen here in the second half, 5th for the ball game. Moundsview has 16 turnovers. One of the reasons why they're behind by 8. Troop and Stacy Robinson head-to-head. Out to Christensen. To Troop. Troop over Robinson. Good. That's 14 for Troop. 49-43. Central by 6. They're trying to protect that unblemished record, 22-0. And as we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, that can sometimes be a handicap come tournament time. Tied up, and a foul is called.
There were 3 guys around him. Nobody raised a hand yet, so...
I believe it's on Horn. Yeah, it is on Horn. That'll be his second team foul against Moundsview.
They had him hemmed in there, and there's Horn reaching in.
Brian Dungy hit in the face that time by Horn. They don't see that one. And Horn comes back the other way. Horn right at the free throw line, pops it up, and it's no good. Christensen grabs the rebound. He was hit hard by Conley, and Conley's going to pick up a foul.
And Dungy was rolling around on the floor. He's up and walking around now. He caught a finger in the eye. There's no question about that. But he rolled around. It looked like he was in real pain. And the official looked right at him and I think thought maybe he was overacting a little bit and didn't blow the whistle.
Well, they weren't overacting on the other end. Conley really hammered Horn. Second team foul against the Minutemen, the first against Conley. And now Dungy asking the official, how could you possibly have missed that?
And the official said, I had somebody's finger in my eye. I couldn't see it.
There's a foul call underneath. And Moundsview picks up one. And Horn picks up a foul, so they let him get away with that one, but not that one.
Yeah, this game is getting a little physical, folks. Oh, he undercut him. No question about it.
Okay, we got 4:13 to go here, third quarter. 49-43 is the situation. St. Paul Central on top of Moundsview. Stacy Robinson into Henderson. Henderson's shot is no good. Conley crashed the boards for the rebound, and he was fouled underneath. Foul is on Troop.
Is it on Troop?
Foul is on Troop, number 33.
Yeah, he took a swipe. There were several instances of contact under there, but Troop took the first swipe. These Central guys, when they get on there, they take their half of the court literally. They figure once they get across the 10-second line, that's their end of the court. They can shoot from anywhere.
Wheeler. And Troop.
Troop scoring.
16 for Troop now. He does have a nice touch. If he'd made all his free throws, this game would be a lot tighter, too. As it is, it's down to 6.
Stacy Robinson. And the rebound pulled down by Kaiser Lake City. Continuing to win out at the Met. Christensen. Oh. Conley takes it away for St. Paul Central. Up to Gibbons. Gibbons surrounded by green shirts.
A 1-on-3 fast break. He took it all by himself. Made the basket. That's confidence.
It's 18 points for Gibbons. 53-45. St. Paul Central by 8. Christensen trying a little one-on-one.
Ready.
How's that for a drive?
Gorgeous play.
Christensen now has 4. Henderson's turnaround missed, and here comes Moundsview again. Long pass down for Troop. That's as pretty as you'll see.
Moundsview's getting back in it. They've got it back down to 4 again with 2:29 left to play in the third period. And a gorgeous pass to Van Troop underneath. He's now got 18 points. Gibbons has 18 points for St. Paul Central. He's done an excellent job, Davey Gibbons has, of negating Troop's scoring punch by equaling his number. St. Paul Central's had some big leads in this game, Bob, but they haven't been able to hang on to them. And I think one thing in the first game, Winona, I wouldn't say those kids quit. They certainly didn't, but they didn't really have the capability to come back once they got way down. This Moundsview team obviously can come back. They've been down in double figures, and they still just keep roaring back every time. I don't think they can afford to fall 10 or 12 points behind again in this game. There isn't that much time left, but they're hanging in there.
Well, Williams, the big man with 6'4", is on the bench with 4 fouls, which is obviously a factor. Troop has got his 18 points. He is the high point man for Mounds View, and Davy Gibbons has 18 points. He is high point man for St. Paul Central. Ricky Suggs is right up there too with 17. So we got 2:29 left to go here. Here comes St. Paul Central again. Stacy Robinson to Conley. That's no good. And the rebound, Peter Smith fought for it. Coming up with it finally is Wheeler. Wheeler off to Christensen. Loops it into Smith, knocked away by Conley. Now here's Gibbons. Gibbons and Conley. Gibbons, Peter Smith from behind, and Peter Smith picks up a foul. And whoa! Oh. He went flying over a row of chairs there.
Smith just came back in the game, and he's hurt. He's down. He's sitting down. He caught a chair probably right in the thigh, and that's going to hurt. I thought they were going to call Davy Gibbons for traveling here. He took a couple of giant steps here after he picked the ball up. Right there, he had already taken 2 steps. He was going to take 3. Smith did get him, however, and there he goes. Wow. And he's still holding his thigh, and now he's back out. He's going to be all right.
That was Peter Smith's third personal foul. Put Davy Gibbons on the line. Davy's got 18 points. He, along with Troop, are the high point men in the ball game. High point men of the ball game.
That's
Gibbons
okay,
now
man.
Is the man of
That's
the ball
okay,
game.
man. Yeah, we dig you.
That's 19. And there's 20. 55-49. St. Paul Central back to a 6-point lead. And Mounds View, Luke Christensen looks as calm as anything as he walks by the scorer's bench here. Don't bother him. There's why he cuts it to 4. Christensen has 6, 55-51. St. Paul Central by 4. Good ball game here from the Civic Center. Ryan Dungy. Davy Gibbons. Long bomber. Good.
Down. Oh. 22 points for this guy who averaged 10.4 a game in the regular season.
Well, we have a good one here, but they don't have a good one out at the Met. 40-16 in favor of Lake City. As a foul now is called on Dungy. That'll be his 4th.
Foul is on Dungy, number 14.
Okay, and we see Central now starting to feel the crunch of those personal fouls. 2 guys with 4 now. There he is. Ran right into the pick.
Of course, you got to have 5 to get him out of there, although they do have him on the bench. But you always know they can return to haunt you that way.
Well, that's true. They'll be back.
Wheeler to Troop. Troop waits for Henderson to fly by, took the shot. It was no good. A foul was called underneath, and I believe that was on Wardenberg.
Foul is on Wardenberg, number 15.
That'll be his 2nd. We're into the bonus situation, so we'll walk down the other end and shoot the 1-and-1. 1 minute and 20 seconds left to go here. 3rd quarter. Good ball game. I'm almost going to use the cliche barn burner here at St. Paul. 57-51, a 6-point lead for Central, and they can make it 8 should Willie Traxler be able to hit both of these free throws. Yep, he didn't hit the first one, but grabbing the rebound was Henderson, and Henderson picks up a big bucket for St. Paul.
Indeed he did. Farron Henderson, the junior, and I've been very impressed with him as he's played a lot in replacing Williams today because Williams in foul trouble.
59-51, Central by 8. Troop gets rid of the opposition, tosses up no good. And the rebound, though, taken away there. Nice job as Troop followed the ball and tied it up.
4:21 in for Mounds View.
Randy Brewer has 27 points at halftime at the Met. The ball game is what, 40-16 at the half.
At the half. Well, we had the laugher here in the first game, and they had the close game. Now we're getting the well-contested game, and they're getting the laugher out there.
There's 55 seconds to go here, 3rd quarter. 59-51. Stacy Robinson against Wardenberg. And Gibbons comes up with the basketball.
I think Gibbons thinks his name is written on that ball somewhere.
It's a long bomber, and he now has 24 points.
I'm telling you, I think they're playing with his ball today.
And he's got 12 of them here in the 3rd quarter. And it's back to a 10-point lead now for St. Paul Central. Peter Smith. Walk. with the basketball, and that is 19 turnovers for Mounds View.
Davey Givens now, that is his high point game of the year. His previous high was only 18, so he's having himself his best day of the year at a highly opportune time.
His average is 10-4. That'll go up a bit. 20 seconds remaining. As Stacy Robinson is going to let that clock run down. To Conley. Back to Stacy Robinson. 10 seconds to go. To Willie Traxler. Willie's going to put it up. No good. Rebound. Wheeler. Now Suggs. Suggs turn around. That's short. And at the buzzer, Henderson puts it in. 2 seconds to go. Henderson. And there goes the buzzer. And that now is the end of the third quarter with a score. St. Paul Central 63 and Mounds View 51. And how's this for consistency? St. Paul Central 21 in the first quarter, 21 in the second quarter, 21 in the third quarter, 63 here after 3 as Wheeler puts it up, misses the shot, and Stacy Robinson grabs the rebound. Mounds View has gone 14, 24, 15. Willie Traxler is hammered, and I think Peter Smith got him, and if he did, that will be his fourth.
Fouled on Smith, number 63.
Yeah, it was Smith. And Willie Traxler will go to the free throw line. There's Smith, 53.
Got him with the body. Nice block on the ball, but he got him with the body.
And Willie Traxler, who is 0 for 1 so far from the free throw line, will try and see what he can do from there. That one went in, but it came back out. Point St. Paul Central lead, 22-0. There was an air ball that missed everything, went out of bounds. If St. Paul Central wins this game, they will meet St. Louis Park in our first game out here tomorrow.
Right. Interesting statistic, too, Bob. Mounds View is shooting 64%, almost 65% from the floor, compared with 51%, just about 52% for Central. But Central's had 54 shots. Mounds View has only had 34. Troop. Nice hesitation. The old Elgin Baylor, hang in the air until the guy starts back down. Pretty play.
Stacy Robinson now directs the offense. Davey Givens.
He is the offense.
And Henderson's shot is a bit short. Kaiser had the rebound. Now Wheeler has the basketball. Wheeler to Troop. And I would imagine they're going to really start to go to Troop now.
I would. Nice block.
That was Davey Givens, and here comes Ricky Suggs. It's showtime. A foul called underneath.
Number 30, Williams back in.
As Williams comes back in now for St. Paul Central.
That's a tough foul on Luke Christensen, too, because I believe that Suggs was too far underneath to do him any damage by the time he hit him. Let's see. There he gets the ball, and with that step, he would have been too far in under to get a decent shot off, I think, if he had just screened him a little bit instead of hitting him.
First foul on Luke. And Willie Traxler is having some problems there from that old charity stripe. He's 0 for 4.
If he misses one more, he has to try the next one underhand, go back to the old Rick Barry school. Okay.
And here comes Mounds View. Wheeler, shadowed by Traxler as he crosses center court. And Wheeler tosses one from 15. That is no good, and the rebound is taken down by Stacy Robinson. That clock becoming a Mounds View enemy with 6:45 remaining in the basketball game. Givens to Stacy Robinson. Back to Givens.
This will be interesting, Bob. I wonder if this St. Paul Central team knows how to sit on a lead.
Dungy comes back in the basketball game now for St. Paul Central. There's 6:29 to go in the game. Foul was on Wheeler. That was his second. We're long into the bonus situation.
Williams was shooting.
And on the line, John Williams. Shooting 1 and 1. Well, it didn't hit the first, so he won't get the second. And Mounds View comes out with the ball. Here's Horn. Kaiser, Horn. He's got it. They continue to shoot well from the outside. Horn now has 6 points.
If Mounds View gets back in this game, Bob, Central's going to look to that free throw line where they've missed a lot of opportunities to put this one away.
Central right now has an 8-point lead. And Williams' shot was no good. but he grabs his own rebound and then lost it out of bounds, and Moundsview will play it back in. Turnover number 6 for St. Paul Central, and that's not bad for as late as we are in the ballgame for a high school team.
And the way they like to play. But that's why I say, I wonder if they can go to a deliberate type offense and try to sit on this lead. I think they may blow it if they do, because I don't think that's their style.
Troop had his shot blocked beautifully by Suggs. Now Christensen back to get the ball. To Wheeler. Moundsview can cut it to 6. Horn, baseline. And he's fouled. I think Ricky Suggs got him as he went by. That'll only be Suggs' first foul.
Nice move on the baseline, too, by Horn. He goes down the baseline. Ooh, boy, he almost dribbled it on the end line. I thought he might have traveled there. They call the foul.
Well, there's now a timeout on the floor with our score. St. Paul Central 63 and Moundsview 55.
So make up your mind. At the Civic Center in St. Paul, Dan Brink checking out the scoreboard and wondering and hoping that his team can hang on to this 8-point lead with 5:37 left to play. Moundsview, Horn for Moundsview going to the free throw line with a chance to cut it further.
Horn, 32.
He's got one. He's 1 for 1. That's his first free throw of the night. So 63-56. It's down to 7. It is down to 6.
Moundsview doesn't quit. They were down 12 at the start of this quarter.
I don't think St. Paul Central is going to get 21 more points this quarter. Matter of fact, they haven't scored yet in this quarter.
And they're trying to be more deliberate on offense, but I think that's going to work against them. Bad shot.
Ricky Suggs. Brian Dungy. Dangerous pass across the court to Gibbons, picked up by Horn, shoots over Horn. That's no good as they've gone cold, and Troop clearing off now to Christensen. Here's a 2-on-1. Christensen, and he picks up a charging foul. That's his second. Well, he had a 2-on-1. He had Horn coming down the other side, but elected to keep the ball and try and lay it in.
I hate to sound like I'm always second-guessing the officials, but I thought that man was still moving his body, and he's got to give that guy a chance to come down and hit the ground. He moved underneath him after the kid took off. I think that's a bad call.
Stacy Robinson is at the free throw line. And so far this quarter, as I mentioned, St. Paul Central hasn't scored. They're also 0 for 5 from the free throw line.
And they could have had about 10 points from there because they've been in the 1-and-1.
And they miss another 1-and-1.
Oh, he got 3 that time. Pretty move.
Robinson got his own rebound and put it in. There we take a look at it.
And a nice move. Grabbed that loose ball, went right to the basket, and drew the foul and made the basket. Got him with the body, and he got the shot off. Nice play by Stacy Robinson, but he missed the free throw again.
65-57, an 8-point lead for St. Paul Central. Wheeler to Kaiser. He walked with the ball, and so a crucial turnover, the 20th now against Moundsview in the game, gives the ball back to St. Paul Central, and if they come down and get 2, they could go up by 10 again.
He dragged his pivot foot as he made the pass. Good call.
Stacy Robinson will bring it down. 10 is Davy Gibbons. Davy Gibbons had 12 points in the third quarter. That's a total of 24 for the game, but hasn't been heard from here in the fourth quarter. Now they're going to press him a bit. They got to get their hands on the ball. The clock's down to 4:33, and they're down by 8.
And Moundsview has finally come out of their zone and started going after the ball, and they've got to.
Brian Dungy smacks into Horn. Ball goes loose, and Troop comes up with it. Troop to Horn. Ooh. Oh, a foul call that time on Troop. Thought it should have been on Gibbons.
I thought so, too. So did the crowd. Gibbons went flying in there. I think that's a tough call. Here goes Gibbons. He went flying through. I guess the ball is his. He had the ball. He had every right to go for the ball, and Troop hit him. That's a good call. We're wrong, and the crowd is wrong, and the official's right.
And there's the situation. It's an 8-point lead for St. Paul Central. There's 4 minutes and 14 seconds left to go here in our opening session. We'll be back tonight as we've got Duluth Central, the Trojans of Jim Hastings going against the Brainerd Warriors at 7 o'clock, and we will follow that somewhere around the neighborhood of 8:45 with the team, and I'm really looking forward to the other undefeated team in this tourney, Ricori. Ricori is supposed to be a very disciplined team, and they'll be going against the Minneapolis Central Pioneers. That'll be at 8:45. Ricori 22-0, St. Paul Central 22-0. Will they meet in the finals?
Well, you know, since we've been here, Bob, we came in arbitrarily making them the favorites, the co-favorites, because they both come in unbeaten. But since I've been here in the arena today, I've had an awful lot of lobbying being done for Duluth Central. And we haven't seen that club play yet either. Jim Hastings Club, we'll see them tonight, as you mentioned, against Brainerd. And people who know a lot about high school basketball in this state have told me that they think Duluth Central may be the sneaky, strong team in this tournament. So we'll see them first game tonight.
Well, I've been impressed with St. Paul Central, but I'll tell you, they're going to have to improve on this 7 of 16 performance in the charity stripe. If they get into a nip and tuck battle with a Ricori or a Duluth Central or a Brainerd or whoever, St. Louis Park tomorrow,
I got a feeling that if they win this game, Dan Brake is going to find someplace for him to shoot free throws tonight.
Monroe Junior High.
There's one.
And once you know it is Gibbons that puts it in, he has hit 2 of 2. He's now 3 of 3 from the charity stripe, so he has no problems there. He has 25.
But he hasn't scored for quite a while.
When you score 12 points in a quarter, you don't have to score for a while.
You do when the other team's sneaking up on you.
It's 9 points now, St. Paul Central, 4:14 remaining. And Gibbons has 27. And St. Paul Central has a 10-point lead again. Mounds View now only has 4:12 to try and make it up. Wheeler. Werdeberg. Werdeberg a little confused. Now gets it to Peter Smith. Foul underneath. Somebody grabbed somebody there, according to Paul Duckstad.
Now, that should have been on defense because you generally don't grab when you're on offense.
It'll put Troop on the line.
I think it's Suggs.
And that'll be Ricky's second foul of the game. And Troop has got the 1-and-1.
Troop shooting.
He's been 2 of 5 from the free throw line. He's now 3 of 6. And he has 21 points. And he's got 22 points. So back to an 8-point lead now as Mounds View just will not roll over and leave the tournament. St. Paul Central's had them down by 10. It's been cut down to 4, back up to 10 or 12, back down to 6, back up to 12, back down to 4, and now they got it down to 8 again. Dungy. The Dungy shuffle doesn't work that time. Underneath the Williams, that works, as Williams has 8 points. And we're back to a 10-point St. Paul Central lead again, and that clock is down to 3:33 to go. Wheeler. Rebound, Williams. All alone to Suggs. Whoa, he stuffed it. Suggs has 19. Coach calls him Silky. Troop tried to shuffle it to Smith underneath. Gets it there. Smith. No good. His own rebound, and there's just workmanship basketball. Hard work under there. Peter Smith has 6 points. 71-61. Still a 10-point lead for St. Paul Central. Inside 3 minutes now. Down to 2:57 to go in a game. Behind the back, Stacy Robinson. That's no good. Williams a rebound. He lost it on the turnover. Wheeler to Horn. And they say they double dribble. The attendance for this afternoon session, 11,063. And what a session they've seen. St. Louis Park a winner, 55-41 over Winona. And St. Paul Central leading here, 71-61. Davey Gibbons tossing it right in front of me, out to Stacy Robinson. Robinson to Williams. Williams on the inside of the shot blocked from behind by Kaiser. And here comes Mounds View again. Kaiser, Christensen, long bomber. Good! Christensen has 8. 71-63, an 8-point ball game.
The clock is starting to work against Mounds View, though. They haven't got time to come back without doing some fouling. I think they got to start fouling the Central kids because Central has not been good from the free throw line. They can't give them shots like that.
certainly can't. Williams now has 10, and it's back to 10 points again, 73-63. Lake City is running wild again, 49-24 over Duluth Morgan Park. So I am sure they'll be here tomorrow. We know that Warren will be here tomorrow.
Moundsview's got to make their move now. They got to start pressing all over the court and fouling if they have to, because Central has not been making their free throws, and they sure have been making their field goal attempts. And make them work for the two. Make them work, maybe wind up with one instead of two. They've been getting easy layups the last couple minutes.
The press on now. Now we pick up a foul in the backcourt as they foul Stacey Robinson. Ziggy calls. Comes out, takes a look, calls a timeout, which stops the clock with 2 minutes even. 73-63 St. Paul Central. When we resume action, Stacey Robinson will go to the free throw line. He is 0 of 2 rather from there today.
9%. An excellent percentage, but they're not getting enough shots.
Here's Robinson's free throw, and he picks a good time to start hitting them. That's 9 points now.
I think maybe Dan Brink just threatened free throw practice tonight if they didn't start making them.
And the tap-up was no good as he missed the second free throw. Now Williams gets a free shot and puts it in. And Williams has 12, and it's now 76-63, 13 points. And I believe that's the largest margin they've had.
That'll do it.
The Wurdeberg comes right down. Says, don't count us out. Wurdeberg now has 10 points, 76-65, an 11-point lead. Suggs a long, wild pass for Dungy, and that's not going to help the cause any. This thing, while it's almost over, it is not all over.
That's what I meant when I said earlier, I don't think the Central team knows how to sit on a lead and be patient. They're going to look for the slam dunks, try to set everybody up for fun time, and maybe they can do it now, but I wouldn't try it against this Moundsview team.
They'll come back before. Here's Luke Christensen. His shot's no good, but Horn shot it. Rebound no good. Horn again. And again it's no good. And Christensen has the ball again. Moundsview rebounding. Underneath to Peter Smith. Smith puts it in. So Smith has 8. Oh, they work for that one. 76-67, 9 points. 1:14. Clock is way against it. A long pass down to Dungy. They want to foul him quickly, but don't. Allow the ball to go off to Suggs. Back to Dungy. Now they get the foul as Christensen comes in. He picks up his third. That'll put Dungy on the line. Dungy has not yet been there. Just a second over a minute to go. A 9-point lead for St. Paul Central. And Brian Dungy, who has 2 points for the afternoon, is on the free throw line for the Minutemen, trying to make it 23-0. That'll help. Dungy with 3 points now. And that should just about do her as he gets both of them. 78-67, back to an 11-point lead again.
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Woo.
Comes into Horn, and we're now inside a minute to go. Horn with Dungy trailing from behind. Dungy poked it loose, but it went right to Troop underneath to Wurdeberg. Wurdeberg's shot is up, no good. And a foul was called, I believe, on Williams. And that should do it for Williams. That'll be number 5. So they got the big guy, Williams, out of there with the 5 fouls, but they don't get him out until there's just 53 seconds to go. So it's a little late, but it will put Wurdeberg on the line. And he should be shooting 2 for Moundsview. Christensen with 8 points in the game for Moundsview. Troop with 22. Kaiser has 6. Horn has 8. Wheeler with 5. Wurdeberg, who's on the line now, has 10. And Peter Smith has scored 8. For St. Paul Central, Davey Gibbons has 27. Stacey Robinson 9. Brian Dungy 4. Ricky Suggs has 19. Wurdeberg now has 11 as he hits the first. Also, Henderson has 5. And Williams 12 for St. Paul Central to round out the scoring. Wurdeberg converts. He has 12. And it's back down to 78-69, 9-point lead, but the clock says just 53 seconds to go. As it comes in now to Henderson, he'll be fouled right in the backcourt immediately. And picking up the foul is Wurdeberg. And Wurdeberg has his 4th. And that'll put Farron Henderson down to shoot the 1-and-1. Farron Henderson has hit 1 of his 2 previous free throws. He has a total of 5 points in the game. The winner of this game advances to meet St. Louis Park out here at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Henderson will shoot.
Be an interesting ball game. Then, of course, tonight we've got Duluth Central against Brainerd and Ricori going against Minneapolis Central as the Minnesota High School basketball tournament continues. Free throw, no good. Rebound to Smith. Smith passing ahead and walking with the basketball, they say, was Kurt Pates. So Pates walks after Henderson missed the free throw. And St. Paul Central will get it back again with Givens playing it in. Clock is down to 49 seconds to go now. Givens into Dungy. Dungy working against Smith, runs into Smith, and I think Dungy will pick up a charging foul. He does. So that's 5 on Dungy. He's gone. But they were able to get Williams out. They're able to get Dungy out, but both of them come. Williams went out with 1:01 to go, and Dungy goes out with 45 seconds to go. But we will walk down to the other end of the floor, and the Mustangs could cut it to 7. There are still 45 seconds to go. There it is. There's Dungy. Peter Smith has the position. He is smacked into there by Dungy, and Dungy picks up his 5th personal foul. So Ziggy Calls has now called timeout, try and work over some strategy for his Mounds View Mustangs that might get them back into the game. If they hit these 2 again, they are down to 7, and then they got to try and cut it down from there. Troop has played a fine game, as we expected he would for Mounds View. He has a total of 22 points. Last year, he led the North Suburban Conference in scoring with an 18-point average. He's averaged 26 this year. Now, after 3/4 of play out at the Met, it is Lake City 55, Duluth Morgan Park 26. And Lake City is also saying they're number 1. And, of course, we'll find out who is number 1 on Saturday night. That Troop, by the way, came to Mounds View from Minneapolis. His parents moving there before his sophomore year. At first, he was very unhappy and felt sort of out of place at the big school. He says he's sort of shy, but he has fit in and, again, has led the North Suburban Conference in scoring for the past 2 seasons. There's a guy that I think has played a real good game today, Peter Smith. He came off the bench. He's been one of the big guns underneath. 6'3" senior. Shot is up, it's no good. Rebound goes to Henderson. Henderson is tied up underneath and fouled immediately, and so Henderson will have to go down and shoot the 1-and-1, and we'll see whether it was Troop or whether it was Wheeler that picked up the foul. It was Wheeler. There you see Henderson grab the rebound, and Wheeler reaches in, 45, and grabs it. Troop was coming the other way. You could have given it to either one of them, but I suppose 45, Wheeler was there first, so that's as good as any. And Henderson will try and go down and hit the front end of a 1-and-1 as St. Paul Central continues to have problems from the charity stripe. And the clock is moving down slowly. Henderson misses his free throw, and Troop grabs the rebound. Here comes Mounds View again. 40 seconds to go. They still trail by 9. It goes to Werdeberg. Werdeberg into Smith. Blocked by Henderson. Henderson grabs the ball for St. Paul. Down to Stacy Robinson, but that's picked off by Wheeler, and then Wheeler throws it away. So Mounds View, given a couple of chances here in the closing moments, has missed a free throw, the front end of a 1-and-1, and have turned the ball over. And have seen their hopes just about dissipate here. 28 seconds to go as it comes in now to Stacy Robinson. Stacy Robinson, a 9-point lead and the basketball, and is fouled with 23 seconds remaining in the game. So Stacy will go to the line. That'll give Stacy a chance to go to double figures. He's got a total of 9. And Stacy's average this year is 8.4. So he's above that.
Robinson shooting.
Free throw is up, and not an artistic success, but it goes in. That's 10. There's 23 seconds to play. St. Paul Central has its 10-point lead again. And now St. Paul Central decides they want to talk things over, as Dan Brink will talk to his club. And he's also going to give everybody a chance to say they played in a Minnesota high school basketball tournament. An announcer's dream in the closing seconds. My favorite, though, and Tom Greenhall will appreciate this, there's a town just outside Detroit called Hamtramck, which is a Polish community. Whenever you get in and you have a Hamtramck High or you have a Hamtramck St. Ladislaus, the pronunciations are just a joy to behold as they hit the floor. No problem in this game, though. Matter of fact, I was kidding Dan Brink before the game. There's a friend from the Michigan High School basketball tournament. One of the clowns over there. But anyway, I was kidding Dan Brink yesterday when I was talking to him. I said, you've got to have one of the easiest names. There's not one tough one in the whole group. Gibbons, Robinson, Dungy, Suggs, Williams, Watts, Neal, Conley, Traxler, Young, Carter, Henderson, Pate, Burks, and Patain. However, we have some coming up tomorrow in the A's. We got 23 seconds to go here. 79-69. St. Paul Central by 10. Warren was a winner earlier today over Breckenridge. Lake City is going to beat Duluth Morgan Park, barring a miracle comeback in the fourth quarter there. St. Louis Park has beaten Winona, and St. Louis Park will, in all probability, will meet St. Paul Central out here about 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon.
Bob, I wouldn't complain about the Polish players from Hamtramck until you learn the Norwegian, which you're going to hear tonight. You're in Norwegian country now.
Okay. Stacy Robinson goes to the free throw line. Stacy gives him an 11-point lead. That's 11 now for Stacy. And it makes it 80-69. And now Moundsview will play it in. Comes into Wardenberg. Wardenberg coming up the floor. Takes it up on the right side. Tries to drive through a couple of players there. Had the ball skip off his knee, go out of bounds. And playing it back in will be St. Paul Central. And they are going to come up with close to 21 points this quarter as well. But they toss the ball away as it's tipped out of bounds there by Wardenberg. And Central will give it another opportunity. 16 seconds to go. They have an 11-point lead, 80-69. Comes in now to Larry Carter. Carter brings it across center floor. And he drops it back off now for Joe Young. Young gets it over to Earl Tate. Tate's shot is up. It's no good. And the rebound taken off, and a foul is called now. That'll be on Mark Woodward. That'll be his first. With just 5 seconds to go in the game. And it will put Larry Carter on the free throw line for St. Paul Central. I still say you haven't lived until you've done Stanislaus Bujanowski. That's just the coach. Shot is up. It's no good. Rebound now is taken off by Paul Gramstad. Passed ahead to Wardenberg. Wardenberg has it tipped away. There goes the horn. And that is the end of the basketball game with the score St. Paul Central 80 and Moundsview 69.